I mean, here, it's not gonna reset. You're trolling. Why'd you put this in? Alright, man. Go up. We got this. Easy.
This is a mercy. Shatter.
Better start dodging.
Do not stand in my way.
Don't stand in anything.
This is a mercy. Do not stand in my way. Shatter.
Make it good.
Behold the rage of winter. This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my way. Rise, my fallen champions.
Running out of areas. It's a scam.
This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my way.
Oh my god.
Sons of Arthur, aid me.
See that shit? What? Got it?
This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my way.
Oh!
This is a mercy.
Yo, yes.
I did what I must to protect my people.
It's pretty good. It's a lot of cooldown speed. Yeah.
Yo, what is good, you guys? Welcome to my Ice Shatter build guide. I will never release a build that I will not update and create iterations to. That being said, the last guide that I dropped for Spellblade was Flame Reeve. This is going to be Ice Shatter. What I have learned in this launch is that it is easier or faster to scale with Ice Shatter than it is Flame Reeve. I do have some gear pieces for Flame Reeve, but I didn't start getting this gear until like mid to late game, whereas the Ice Shatter build, like instantly once I was able to get to the Ice Shatter spec, I already had cold damage, so it was easier to scale into that. That being said, I will eventually update my Flame Reeve build, but mostly I'm going to focus on Ice Shatter. This is going to be the entry level into Endgame, because currently I'm level 87 and I'm clearing level 100 content. Eventually I will min-max this build and release a full build guide for Ice Shatter and then move to Flame Reeve. That'll be more like an ultimate video, but this is going to be like entry level into Endgame for Ice Shatter build. So let's go ahead and hop into the actual build. So it's Mana Strikes, Ice Shatter, Flame Ward, Enchant Weapon, Power Surge. So with Mana Strike, we're going for the extra ward on strike, and then we're also getting the global increased damage on Rage Sap, and then more mana gain from Mana Drain. For Shatter Strike, we are actually changing Ignite into Frostbite. That way we can get more damage over time on the longer boss fights. And it's also going to give us Cold Penetration with Frostbite. We're going for the Cold Steel critical strike multiplier per sword, and then we're also going for the recast of Shatter Strike and the extra area and damage for Shatter Strike with increased global cold damage. On my Flame Ward, it's actually Frost Ward converted with extra armor, 600 extra armor. This Fire Ward just literally turns it into Frost Aura. And then also going for mana efficiency and duration with the free cast on stun. extra charge from dual ages. For enchant weapon, we are doing the cold damage, added melee cold damage. We are getting a slight amount of melee cold damage. We are getting active duration, and then we're getting the recast on Kindling Blade. Melee elemental damage per missing mana on desperation, depending upon when it's cast, because it is cast automatically. And then we have melee attack speed plus 50%. That's going to give us an insane amount of more damage as we're using enchant weapon, as well as attack speed. So you really want to, it's best to time your flame ward windows, or when your enchant weapon is off cooldown, you can pop your flame ward, have increased armor, and go straight into an enchant weapon. For surge, we're getting 150 ward gained on hit with surge. So if you want to stack and rotate your wards, surge is a very good skill in order to help you reach that or like strengthen your ward threshold. So then we have travel distance on that, and then slightly more ward gained. If you wanted to go full ward, you could also spec into this, but this point gives a lot less ward than storm mages, so I prefer storm mages. And then you have shock chance and increased stun chance on Jolt. But I'm actually changing the shock into frostbite and cold, with tidal wave for 100% chill, freeze multiplier, just to add extra stacks of damage and chill when I do power surge towards an enemy. It also serves as a pull skill if I hit something from across the map. And then my passives, the most important thing to note is Elementalist goes reactive ward, and then Mage Flurry. I could spec more into the critical strike multiplier, but I do have a lot of crit already, so it's not really a huge issue. I'm getting all of the major cold, most important cold nodes here, the Frozen Steel, and then I'm getting Mana Reaver and Essence Duel for the attack speed and ward gain, Mana Reaver for the extra health and mana gained on hit for melee hits. This pairs very well with my Arcane Shielding, which is going to give me extra armor, stacking up to 4 times. And then also more ward on hit, 40 ward just on using a melee hit, not to mention the ward that is also in the skill, the melee skills itself, including Ward Strike on Mana Strike, and then for Shatter Strike, Icy Flow, even though I'm not spec that deep into it. All right, and then obviously Gemini, so that I can dual wield crystal blades, and then Blade Weaver, because this is going to give me multiplicative damage every time I go from Mana Strike into Ice Shatter. So I'm getting multiplicative damage just from weaving my skills, my low mana to high mana skills. The other thing that's really important to note are the passives that are Rune Master, as these are essential for endgame. I'm getting extra health and less damage taken from ignited or chilled enemies. Mostly all my enemies that I'm fighting are chilled, so I'm going to have permanent damage reduction. And then I'm getting extra health and additional ward per second from Transcendence. This is extremely important so that you have ward retention, so that you can get close enough to actually utilize your ward gain on hit. Yeah, that is our passive and skill setup, you guys. So as far as gear, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my gear and my resistances. So my resistances are close to cap, but not exactly. What's really boosting my resistances from my gear is this unique. This unique is going to be very useful until you can get an Omnis, and Omnis is not going to be available into higher corrupted. So this is why I say this is the entry level build, whereas previously I released a build that was more so focused on like actual true in-game gear, but you have to have entry level gear in order to get to that point. So I want to give you guys the full guide of how you play Spellblade. So yeah, right now, like I said, this is the entry level. You really need these unique boots in order to raise your resistances high enough without the Omnis. And then I'm also using a resistance amulet for physical resistance and necrotic resistance. My necrotic resistance is a little high, but better it be higher than lower. I really need more poison and void. If I could swap the necrotic for void, it would be great, but I have extra health. Cold resistance, you can never have enough cold resistance. Cold just hits so hard in this game for some reason. And then there's critical strike multiplier and increased elemental damage. So those are where most of my resistances are coming from. I am getting slightly more resistance from my gear, but mostly I'm getting a Shatter Strike from my relic, and I'm getting Shatter Strike on my chest piece. I want as many extra points in Shatter Strike as possible. This unique is very, very essential for this build. It gives me cold penetration with Shatter Strike, and it also there's a weird interaction with bleed with this item. It seems like I don't actually bleed with this build when I'm using this item. I'm not sure if that's due to health regeneration or this item. I actually really need to look further into this, but I've noticed some weird interactions with bleeding for sure. Increased mana regeneration, critical strike multiplier as well. And then I'm getting elemental resistance from my belt. With my belt, my boots, and my amulet, they're giving most of my resistances, which are really, really important. Mana regeneration again. So it's mana regen coming from my relic and my belt, and then I have more necrotic resistance. Ideally, if I had more forging potential, I would change that necrotic resistance for like a different type of resistance. Hopefully like void. But it's fine. I have increased cold damage as well. The increased lightning damage is okay. It does help with my mana strikes, but I would prefer something else. Like ideally, I would want like critical strike avoidance or cooldown recovery on my belt. So this will be rerolled, but however, elemental resistance is still like very like best in slot. So I decided to use this as a placeholder. I do have a legendary gold ring with increased cold damage, freeze multiplier, endurance, physical resistance, health, and mana. This is a really, really good placeholder ring until I get true best in slot exalted with every stat I need. But it does give me increased damage, so it's really good. I have an opal ring for increased cooldown recovery, which is really important for surge so that you can keep your ward up. Increased elemental damage, crit chance, critical strike avoidance, and physical resistance. Getting resistances. I ideally want resistance on both rings, but at least just having resistance on one ring it's good. All right, and then my swords. This is where it gets tricky. So, as I told you, this build turns ignite into frostbite with Shatter Strike. So I am changing ignite into frostbite. So one of my swords actually ignites on hit, bleeds on hit, shocks on hit, melee cold damage, melee crit chance, up. You always want melee crit chance over regular crit chance for the multiplicative crit chance. And then even though I do have increased critical strike chance, I will replace this once I get something better. I just don't have melee crit chance. Ideally, like I would really want increased melee attack speed to be the exalted stat, but I just haven't gotten those drops yet. So this is placeholder. Chance to shock, chance to bleed, still pretty good. Yeah. Peak of the Mountain, 276 increased critical chance. Has one legendary potential. I want to put a plus enchant weapon on this for legendary potential, or roll for another one with 2 to 3 legendary potential, and then roll for like maybe enchant weapon and increased dex or increased melee elemental damage. Yeah. Increase melee elemental damage would probably be this, like best in slot. Yeah. My idols are literally based on all resistances. So at this point, level 87 going in the hundreds, I am stacking like as much resistance as I possibly can. It's mostly void, a little poison, elemental resistance, health, critical strike chance, health. Yeah, that's all I'm stacking with my idols. Like my idols are band-aids or placeholders until I get the omnis and the correct resistances I need on my gear. So until I get my gear with like all the correct resistances, my idols are purely going to be based on defense. Well, after I get enough resistances, I will eventually swap over to the damage idols. Ideally, you would want melee elemental damage, as many as you possibly can. Yeah. For my blessings, I don't have the greater blessings. I literally just started doing the greater blessings as I just completed every single echo. I have every single blessing right now. But I need to upgrade them to the graders. The only greater or grand blessing I have is chance to shred cold resistance. However, I will go back and do the others. As of right now, I'm getting fire resistance, class specific shard, critical strike avoidance, prefix, increased health regeneration. This one's really important. Increased one-handed sword drop rate. That's really important as well for crystal swords. Increased critical strike chance. Increased boot drop. As I do want unique boots eventually. I still haven't gotten them. And then increased unique drop rate. These are my regular blessings. Like I said, my full build that will be in the description will show you like the ideal build that this will go into, where I have the grand blessings. But yeah, this is where I'm at as of right now, mid game. I will release an update very soon. Be looking out. Let me know what you guys think of this build gameplay. And yeah, I will see you next video. Thanks for watching. Peace and love, guys.